Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and tonight I am proud to bring you Brian Walker and Brian's Drive-In Theater. Tonight's topic, beach parties continued. Greetings and welcome, Brian. How are you?
I am well tonight, Hercules. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little tired. We did a lot of things today, but other than that, I'm feeling great, and I'm looking forward to tonight's show as always.
Great. Well, we started this topic last month, and there's so much to talk about when it comes to summer beach party movies and going to the drive-in and such. That I wanted to extend it over a month, and coincidentally, this is June 15th, and this is the birthday of Aaron Kincaid, who was one of the stars of beach party films shot by or produced by Paramount and by American International Pictures. He was a great guy. Greg and I went to his house on numerous occasions. He prepared dinner for us. He took us on this long, very lengthy drive around Hollywood to show us who lived where, which I recorded all on video. And one of the things that I want to do post-retirement is to get into that and collectively I don't want to post the whole video because it wouldn't be very interesting, but I want to take pieces of it and post it because it was a lot of fun. It was a great day. He showed us where Charlie Chaplin's house was, where Humphrey Bogart's house. He knew all the classic movie stars and where they lived in Beverly Hills and Hollywood and up Benedict Canyon. He lived on kind of a notorious street himself. Jay Sebring, the hairdresser who was murdered along with Sharon Tate by the Manson family in August of 1969, lived across the street from Aaron.
Oh, wow.
And Yvette Vickers, who was kind of a late 50s, early 60s bombshell actress, did some horror films and such. Kind of passed away in a really sad condition, and she lived on the same Easton Drive, the same street that Aaron lived on, and she passed away about a year before anybody noticed. So her body was sort of mummified, and there was a space heater that was on very, very close to her in her home, and it had been on for a year, and her bills were on automatic pay, so the bank did all that, and sadly nobody checked on her for a whole year.
That's very sad.
It is. And Aaron Street, despite being he had the coolest house, which I'll talk about later on. I think I mentioned it last month, but he had a way cool house, just awesome. He lived on a nice street, but like I said, I mean, some sad stories on it. Sometimes you wonder if an area is not cursed,
Well, that the woman becoming mummified in her house, I'm surprised the appliances didn't burn out before then, or
well, yeah, I mean, any number of things could have happened, and that space heater being on for a year. I mean, my God.
That's comforting and scary at the same time.
Well, on the one hand, I'm thankful for the United Laboratories tags.
Right.
That used to be on stuff like that until everything got deregulated to the point where anybody could make anything electrical and sell it to you. But I'm going to guess that she had one of the good old-fashioned ones that was kind of built like a tank. And a lot of the new ones that had plastic housings. I would be afraid that thing would melt,
Yes.
after a while. But yeah, just a really sad story. Talking about beach movies really shouldn't be sad. And as a matter of fact, talking about Yvette Vickers for just a second, she actually has a minor role in in American International's first beach movie, which was called Beach Party. I actually have a signed poster of Beach Party in my house, and it's signed by Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon, and I have certificate of authenticity. So
That
I
is
paid
awesome.
I paid a lot for that.
I can
But
imagine.
it's really cool. And I had at the time, well, at the time I bought it, I had a collage going with some press books of other beach films. And I also, in my living room, I've got a half sheet of The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini, which starred Aaron Kincaid, as a matter of fact, and Tommy Kirk, and another friend of mine, Quinn O'Hara, who sadly passed away a few years ago as well. Um, but I have a lot of good memories, surrounding the beach films for a lot of reasons. For one thing, you saw them on TV when you were a kid,
Mhm.
uh, and and Annette Funicello is impossible to hate. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
I know what
she's
you mean.
she's just so wholesome that it kind of comes through. There's nothing phony about it, or it's very, whatever there was in her was very honest and genuine and likable. And I've never heard one bad thing about her ever.
She
And you
was on
hear,
the Mickey Mouse Club, wasn't she?
yes, back
Yeah,
in the
I
50s,
remember from that. Yeah.
yeah. And with was famous practically her whole life. Started working as a child. Um, she was born in New York, and her parents, got her out to California so that she could, work, essentially. And she worked a lot, but when she decided to raise a family, she just more or less said, well, I'm going to put this on the back burner, and I'm only going to do so much. But she stayed active in entertainment the whole time. She wasn't making the movies that she had made, or the television appearances or the recordings. But I've got actually have a couple of her albums here in the
Wow.
house. Uh, Years ago, Greg and I were at Disney World, and some friends of ours who've always very graciously allowed us to stay with them. They're Disney Vacation Club members, so their home base, or their home resort, is right next to the Magic Kingdom, and it's also very close to the Polynesian, which is one of the original Disney resorts. And we went into a shop there, and they had an album of Annette Funicello titled Hawaiianette. And Greg did not rest until he got a copy of it. But actually, the friends who stayed with us were the ones who bought him the copy for his birthday. So we have that. It's framed. It's on the wall, and we also have the soundtrack to Beach Party, which features Annette Funicello. And we've got some other memorabilia. We have a lot of stuff here at the manor. So
As do I. We have a lot of stuff, and every now and then we look at a lot of stuff and wonder maybe we should find it a home.
well, I do that sometimes, and sometimes I think, gosh, I really like this, and then I put it away and don't look at it again
Mhm.
for
Same
a
here.
while.
That's what happens when you have lots of stuff. And
But when I find it, the gratification is instant. It's like, oh wow, look at this! This is so cool. Even if you've forgotten that you had it, which I do from time to time, you buy something, and for whatever dumb reason, you squirrel it away. If you love something that much, you should use it. You should be proud of it. You should show it to everybody.
I have a collection of Conans. I've just about everything Conan. And the flood that we had destroyed a big chunk of my collection. In truth, I haven't been reading Conan in quite a while. And they recently came out with new Conan books. So of course I bought the new Conan books. I don't know when I'm going to read them or if I'm going to read them, but how can I not get the new Conan books? Because
And they're yours.
yes.
So I mean, we've if we relocate, we've got tons of stuff. We've got all kinds of physical media, which means we have thousands of DVDs. I
Mhm.
mean, I mean thousands. Now, into this house, we have cleverly built in a couple of closets and things to store them. so that there aren't just massive so it doesn't look like an episode of Hoarders and there aren't massive piles of DVDs and such. So we've done a good job with that. But I don't want to. I've been through them a couple of times thinking, well, there's got to be some stuff here I'm not that interested in. And I keep doing it and I'll find like 15 DVDs or something like that. And
Right.
the rest of them look so tasty. Well, and now I think you pointed this out a couple of days ago. A lot of the streaming services are removing content.
Right.
And that means that, well, you might not be able to see this movie.
That's very true. And
So
a lot of people who were enthused with the streaming content. I learned my lesson about the streaming content when I got my first Kindle. And I started getting rid of books because they all fit in the Kindle. You get 1,000 books in the Kindle or 2,000 books or whatever. And then something happened to my Kindle. So I couldn't access any of my
okay.
books. So I had to actually go back and rebuy some things that I really, really, wanted. And that was time consuming and expensive. So, I still have a Kindle. I have it now on my computer and I read it occasionally. But I still have the physical copies. And with DVDs, a lot of people were getting rid of their DVDs, VHS tapes, and other things because of streaming media. Clear up all this stuff, and then now they're removing content. So you can't get things anymore. So people now, I know with the DVDs in the superhero movies and in some of the other genres I follow, they're saying they want physical copies. It's great that it's on streaming. Sometimes it's better to watch it on streaming than to dig out your DVD and stuff like that. But if they take it away from online, you still got your DVD.
Well, while you're on that track, one of the things that I did for Aaron back when I first met him, he did not have. Aaron wasn't very technologically savvy. The internet was his complete undoing. He didn't understand it. He saw it a couple of times and it just wasn't his thing at all. So he was never really online for any amount of time, ever. And just didn't cotton to that sort of thing. So I was surprised he had a DVD player, quite honestly, and I'm sure somebody had to set it up for him and show him how to use it. But one of the first times we had a conversation on the phone, he told me that he did not have copies of Beach Ball or The Girls on the Beach, which were his two Paramount Studios beach movies that were bigger budgeted affairs than usually you got out of beach party movies. They had, honest to goodness musical acts, the Four Seasons, the Supremes, the Righteous Brothers, big names in terms of musical acts. And the Girls on the Beach had the Beach Boys, who sing the title song, The Girls on the Beach, and Leslie Gore, who Aaron said he briefly dated. Or went out on a date with once or something like that. I guess that was probably mid-60s because they were in a couple of different movies together. They were in The Girls on the Beach together, and they were also in Ski Party, which isn't a beach movie, but it's beach adjacent, and it starred the same people from the Beach Party movies. So it's kind of a beach party movie, but it's not. And Aaron's one of the stars of that. He has he has the best role in it, to tell you the truth. He's got this role. His name's Freddie, and he's supposed to be, the hot campus guy who has, his choice of companionship. And in sort of a Some Like It Hot take, he develops a crush on Dwayne Hickman, who is dressed up as a woman. So there you have it. Beach Party's a lot of fun. It has got a great cast. Yvonne Craig's in it, Deborah Wally, Dwayne Hickman, as I mentioned, Frankie Avalon also stars in it. Aaron, has a great role in it. Robert Q. Lewis who was a famous television personality from the 50s and 60s, has a pretty good role in it as well. A lot of the beach party movies, particularly the American International beach party movies, would feature, since they were more or less like comedies, more so than they were musicals. A lot of the other beach movies, especially the ones produced by other studios, were more musical in nature. So they would have, hot contemporary
Hmm.
acts doing popular song, doing you know, their top 10 song of the week, or whatever it was. American International movies weren't like that at all. The music was written usually specifically for the films. It very quickly and kind of missed the mark in terms of pop music,
Uh-huh.
but were typically sung by pop stars. Donna Lauren did a lot of, and Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon did a lot of the songs in American International's beach party movies, because they were good at that kind of material. And Donna Lauren did a lot of singing and did a lot of commercials. She was a she was a Dr. Pepper, pitch person for several years. Did all kinds of television commercials and drive-in commercials for Dr. Pepper, and became very heavily identified with the brand, and would sing their jingles. And there were, a lot of singers who did a lot of that work, and did a lot of backup singing and such, or do commercial jingles because they had, kind of soothing or pleasing voices. Professionals, people who knew what they were doing, and could do it quickly, could pound it out fast. You didn't want somebody who needed 30 takes. You wanted somebody who could go in there, nail it, and then everybody goes home. I guess it's what we all really dream for, isn't it?
One of the, I was thinking, since the last time you did the beach parties, there are a lot of, I guess you call them like nudie films, I guess, from like women from outer space coming and landing on Earth, and they somehow wound up in beach party movies. I couldn't remember any of the titles, but I looked through my collection of science fiction, weird science fiction, to see if I have any. But I seem to remember at least 3 or 4 different movies where with titles like Hot Babes from Outer Space or Vixens or something where
What have you been watching, Hercules?
oh, these are from a long time ago.
Have you been watching Cinemax again?
Last, no, these are my DVDs, my DVD collection. But I seem to remember there were a lot of movies like that where women from interplanetary civilizations or from our solar system wound up on Earth, and then all of a sudden becomes a beach party movie.
It sounds a little bit like Amazon Women on the Moon. Did you ever see that?
Yes, I've seen that. Yes.
Oh, God, that for a solid year, that was one of my favorite. I still love it, but for a solid year, that was one of my favorite movies. I saw it on VHS. I think we rented it or something like that, and I fell in love with it almost immediately, because so many callbacks to 50s and 60s science fiction in the film. Just a lot of fun. So much fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I love corny humor too. To make me laugh, you don't have to get overly vulgar, although that works too. But any cornball humor, I will tend to giggle at.
Yeah, I tend to like weird, humorous movies as well. And again, bringing these science fiction themes to a beach party, that it's like with the horror at the beach parties. It's a totally different dimension. All of a sudden, you're not where you thought you were. You're not in Kansas anymore. You're someplace else. And then it becomes a parody of both science fiction and beach parties.
Well, and if you think about it, the best horror comes from having an idyllic setting, where something horrible, is happening. For me, that's the best horror. I mean, we talked about, we did a show on vacation horror last year,
Yes.
which is one of my favorite sub-genres of horror films, because vacation's supposed to be
A
Well,
safe
it's what
house.
you, it's what you, it's sacred. Yeah, exactly. It's what you work for all year, and you scrimp and save, and you take annual leave, and you sort of put your career on hold for a couple of weeks so you can take your family somewhere, and then something horrible happens like a cattail.
Yes, I see the,
And all of a sudden, like Race with the Devil, I think we talked about, when we talked about that particular subject with, oh God, who was that? Warren Oates and Peter Fonda. Um, I think I'm remembering the cast right. Loretta Swit's in it as well, and this is Tippy.
hi
Um,
Tippy.
yes, she's sort of the matriarch of the house now. She's only about 5 years old. She's really curious. I think every home should have a female cat.
We
They
have,
run they
we,
run things,
yes.
so if someone comes to the door, she is right there at the door, like, who are you? Checking them out. Anything new that comes into the house, she has to investigate.
Hmm.
So they kind of run things in a home, and I think that every home needs a female cat.
We
The
have them
males,
here still.
I, I love male cats, but after you neuter them, they just become speed bumps, in the hallway. They're lying on their backs like this and not doing a damn thing. And the females are awake 24/7. To
Mhm.
tell you the truth, Tippy's the first female cat I've ever had that will go into a deep sleep. Most female cats that I've had, the other ones that I've had, all were really light sleepers. So if anything happened in the house, if anything made a noise, they were on it. She'll sleep through it. Um, so, uh, but even at that, she's awake far more often than our male cat, Murray. Murray's just happy to lie in the sun. On the patio and just enjoy himself. He doesn't care what's going on as long as he gets his three squares a day. If you pay attention to him, he's happy. He's low maintenance.
Yeah, we have female cats usually. Now we're down to one, and she's pretty old too. I believe she's 17 at this
Oh wow,
too.
wow.
And she's taken over the role of matriarch from her mother. Her mother used to be the one on top of everything and commenting on everything. And now she talks and she makes demands, and so she's in charge, at least of the kitchen and surrounding areas.
Yeah, I've been a cat guy my whole life. Now I have not had a dog for years, but I also grew up with dogs too. And I love dogs, so I'm not saying one is better than the other or anything like that. But as it's worked out, I've just been more of a cat guy, and I think they're wonderful companions. They have added a lot to my life. I think they teach you a lot too,
Mhm.
and uh, I mean, they're just great companions. So that I don't know how else to put it. Well, I think of them as kind of members. They're members of the household. I mean, they're family. And my pets are exclusively indoors. They don't go out. They don't go out and roam. They don't go out and roam. They're contained somehow.
Tina
So
takes one of the dogs out. She's her garden dog.
Well, when we still had Maggie, who was our tuxedo
Mhm.
female, we would take her outside, but we were with her the whole time. She stayed with you. Um, she she was almost impossible to spook. She was very aware of her surroundings, but she didn't have that fight or flight instinct like a lot of animals.
Right.
Hers was fight. She was just, if something approached her, she was going to like raise up on her hind legs and to do her Frankenstein thing. Um, most with most cats, even the females, it's fight or flight. But Maggie, nah, she, she was going to rip your throat out if she had to. Uh, No, I don't know about the Tippy. You need to turn around so they can see your face. But, oh my.
She wants you to see her face though, not,
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, she's affectionate, but this is also kind of a power move. So
Mhm.
it really is. She's one of the things I appreciate about her is that she's very transparent. I always know what she wants. She's telling you, she's trying to communicate it loud and clear. Our other cat, Murray, he has wants and needs, but he doesn't. For him, you're supposed to know what they are.
Uh-huh.
He's kind of like that awful boyfriend or girlfriend that you once had who kind of expected you to sort of somehow cosmically know
Read
when they were
minds, yeah.
offended by something. Yeah, he's that cat. Um,
Cats like that. I've had dogs like that, and I've known people like like that too. It's
yes.
sorry,
And
I'm very capable, but I don't read minds,
right. But you're supposed to if
You're
you interact.
supposed to, yeah. If you really, really cared.
Exactly. So he's kind of a handful at times because of that. But with her, you always know where she's at, what she wants. She's with me. I mean, she's with me all night long. I never have to. If I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I know exactly where she's at.
I love when pets grasp the concept of talking. So
Oh, she
start
she
making,
does. Yeah.
and yeah, we have cats like that, ghosts like that now, and my dog Sophia, she's like that now. She makes a variety of sounds. She has vocabulary because she gets the concept of talking.
Hmm.
She tries to talk to me sometimes because I don't always understand what she's saying. She'll go and stand next to what she wants, like she wants more water, or she wants some food, or she wants to be petted or whatever. She'll show me another way. But I love that they try to talk, at least, try to communicate on an equal level.
And she does this too. She chortles.
Mhm.
So for her, when she starts vocalizing, it's not just you or anything like that.
Right.
She strings the sounds together as we would or
To
as we
talk,
do
yes.
when we formulate sentences. She
Mhm,
does
yes.
the thing, and she's trying to say something. She's so good at pointing out what it is she wants, or what, or she herds you. I think she was a border collie in a previous life. I'm serious. If you don't go the way that she wants you to go when you're walking through the house, she will block you. She
So
will
yes.
she'll body block you so you can't go that way. It's kind of fascinating. It's wonderful to live in your own home and find out that you're at the bottom of the totem pole as opposed to the top. You know, even after making all those mortgage payments, it doesn't seem to matter.
Well,
Um,
cats are worshipped as gods in ancient Egypt, and they know about it.
well, yeah, it's almost as if that they read that in a book somewhere and they're like, oh, well, of course.
It's genetically passed on to them, and
Well, and she had kind of a rough start in life too. She was abandoned. We
mm,
live just a few miles outside of town, but it is fairly rural, in this part of the town. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people do drive out this way and then drop animals because I've gotten more than one cat that way, and she was one of them. Um, and not quite grown. She was probably, I want to say, 5 to 6 months old when we found her. We found her in the front yard. She'd been dropped here. Um, and we were going to foster her. And the deal was, since it's kind of expensive when you find an animal, if you take it in, have it tested, make sure that it doesn't have any dread diseases or
right.
anything like
Mhm.
that, and then get all of its shots done, have it spayed, neutered. What we're talking hundreds and hundreds of
It's
dollars. It's not cheap. I've done it numerous times. And for her, she had broken a tooth on something, and we had to have dental work done for her. So that was even more money. And so that free animal, as you find out, costs you like $800 to $1,000.
Yes.
But what are you going to do? You can't let it just sit there and starve. Cats are typically ingrates, but initially when you take them in, they are grateful for about a week. It's enough to suck you in. I'm serious. A dog will always, well, most dogs will almost always be grateful for that. A cat, about a week,
Mhm.
and then after that, it's like, "Ooh, I don't like the way this is being run, so we're going to change things." And then they train you, and then everything works out.
Most of the time, yes.
Oh yeah, I've been doing this my whole life. I've had a pile of cats at this point. Dogs too, though. I mean, over the years, we had a number of dogs, and I love dogs. I really do. It just the way my life's worked out, and I had an unusual schedule for a pretty big part of my career. Sometimes I taught at night, and with dogs, you can't you have to be regular for them.
Yes.
Their little bladders can only hold so much, and I just haven't been on kind of a schedule that would work for a dog. I will say this though, I think when it comes, if you want to do a whole lot of traveling, I think it's easier to do with a dog,
Mhm.
uh, unless you luck out and get a cat that loves to travel. Some people find them. I've had them before, but
I've had them before too, but they're few and far
most of
between.
them don't.
Usually it's traumatic.
Yes, with Tippy, I think that she thinks that she's being dropped again,
Yeah.
which I'm sure that had to have been traumatic, for her. And I've had other pets that's happened to, and they tend not to be very good travelers. That's been my experience anyway. Now one of our other female cats, Lily, traveling didn't bother her a bit. She was just fine, okay, and wherever she was home. So she'd step out of the carrier, and it's like, okay, this is mine now, and it didn't bother her a bit to travel. So you get them sometimes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, have you ever, like, when I was writing science fiction, some of my cats became outer space cats, the cats that I've had over the years. So that was a lot of fun to do, and it
You
broke.
mean like Jones the cat from Alien?
Yeah, we had
Sigourney Weaver's orange tabby.
we had Shaman. We had a radio show called Otherworld Adventures, and we had like it was a voice thing, and it was like a comedy space show, and we had it on like audio, and one of the cats was named Shaman, or from the word shaman,
Mhm.
and we had Black Wolf, the Dragon Master. He's deceased now, Richard Washington. He did the voice for the cat, but the cat was based on a cat I actually had. So I just fleshed them out, and we had Richard voice the cat. But in stories too that weren't recorded in audio, some of my cats had positions on spaceships and things like that. And it was a fun way of remembering them.
That's interesting. Usually I use my pets as password names. And I've at this point, I've got passwords that are for pets that died like 25 years ago. But I try to give them, when you name a pet, I think, or anything really, a child, whatever. I think you need to give it a really thoughtful name. I don't think a lot of people do,
No, they don't.
unfortunately. Um, and you want to try to key it to the first impression that you had when you first met the pet, when you first saw it. Um, and they pick up on the names really fast.
Yeah,
Now,
they do.
there are some competing theories as to why. Maybe it's just the sound, uh, and they associate that with something good as being fed or being petted or something of that nature. I think there's a little more to it than that because
There's more to that too.
I think so too, because when they want something specific, the when Tippy, for example, when she wants something more specific, the chortle changes. I mean, there's a different tempo to it. There's a different sound. When she wants, let's say, to be fed, that's kind of a typical mew. It's kind of an ordinary sound. But when she wants something more specific, there's a different meter to it. There's
Yes.
a different pitch. So she does what we do, essentially. Um, and she's just very verbal. I mean, I don't know any other vocal might be a better way to put it, but I think she is trying to say something. So maybe verbal is the right word to use after all. I don't know.
And they know how to
She's
melt
trying
your
to tell
heart.
me something.
They know how to melt
Whether
your
I
heart too.
whether I understand it or not, well, who knows, dumb human. But she's trying to say something to me. And I've had other cats that have done the same thing. When they want something, they talk to you,
Right.
and they will point, they'll indicate, they'll tell you what it is they want after a while, if they are engaged enough with you to try to communicate with you. And I think a lot of them do that, especially if they do have a need, of some sort, or if there's something that they really want and they know that you can provide it. It's almost like having a child, I guess. I'm childless, but you're a parent, so you would understand that.
Yeah, they're very much become part of your family, and they become like your furry kids, your four-legged.
Well, I feel more like their servant than anything else, rather than a parent. You know what I mean? Because look, for Tippy, for example, if she wants to be fed or something like that, she'll come and get me, and she's
Yeah.
mew, 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 mew. I mean, she's talking to me, but it's really rapid fire. She's talking quickly, and it's in short utterances.
Yeah. What are you waiting for? Come feed me now.
Yeah, so it's like, come on, hop to.
My inner clock tells me it's time to eat. And I like how they tell untruths too. Athena often says to me, "Don't don't let them lie to you. They just got fed at 4 o'clock or something." So
Oh, but they will. They'll readily.
yeah, they'll come tell you that I haven't eaten in weeks and months and years.
And
Please.
they can change. They don't have facial muscles like we do, but they can still change
Yeah.
their facial their expressions, and they can. Murray, chubby as he is, can sort of look, like skinny and like he's wasting away. He'll go, oh.
Yeah.
Now, like, look at your ass. That didn't get skinny all of a sudden. But yeah, it's amazing how they can act. They can milk a situation to they can manipulate, I guess, a situation. My one of my veterinarians, I have a great veterinarian here in town. I've been with her for been going to see her for, oh gosh, 25 years, since she got out of vet school. She's about my age. And she told me that the female cats, were manipulative. And I was like, well, the males can be too. When they're awake, there are certain buttons that they like to push. I don't think that's specifically the domain of the female cat. Barney, who the cat we lost back in February, was probably the best manipulator of any cat I've ever had. He just knew how to work it, and he was very subtle with it too. He wouldn't, I've had some cats where if they want something, all you can see are their tonsils. It's kind of like a Warner
Right.
Brothers cartoon, where it's just, they're just squealing their head off until you give them what they want. He was way more subtle than that. He could indicate, he could point, he would talk, but not, he would open his mouth, but nothing would come out. So he's very subtle, it's interesting the way he would let you know what he wanted. Very good at it too. Very good communicator. Very smart. Very smart cat. I just it would be wonderful to know instantly what they're trying to tell you, but you have to get to know them in
Mhm.
order to understand, okay, well, this sound means this, because that's what they do with us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly to do with us, and they're a lot smarter than most people give them credit
Oh, I
for.
think they're very smart. And you know, cat, I hate to say this is awful, but cat brains are studied very frequently because they react very similarly to human brains. They have emotions that are similar to humans, like
Yes,
jealousy. They can be wildly jealous, you know, of
dogs can.
another.
Dogs can too.
They can. That's true. Any pet can work up a jealous streak, I think, after a while. But cats it just seems to be innate. You know? They can get jealous really fast. But you're right, Doug. I've seen dogs get really possessive and possessive. Being possessive, that's another thing. It's another
Yes,
trait that you see. I think they can love too.
I think so too. Yeah.
Exactly the same way that we do. Um, so there's a lot. I think there's a lot to that. I think it's why we bonded so much, you know, over the millennia with dogs and cats and other pets too. I mean, there's more than just that, but those are sort of the typical pets.
I've had cats that when I'm trying to type, when I'm trying to write or communicate in social media, they'll walk on the keyboard or
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, Lily once deleted my entire email account. I had to scramble to get it all back, but I was able to because she just stopped on the keyboard because I wasn't paying attention to her. I was paying attention to whatever it was that I was doing.
Keyboard, yes. And
Yes.
she's the pet, so that's the whole thing. I'm a pet. You got to pet me. You have to
Hmm.
pay attention to me. And they communicate that very clearly.
Well, on a Thanksgiving I think it was about, I want to say 6, 7 years ago. One of my cats, Perry, at the time, named after Perry Mason, attorney at law. Um, he had a kidney problem, um, and would randomly vomit, you know, sort of a bile uh, every once in a while. And he picked Thanksgiving to vomit this bile all over the keyboard of my computer.
Oh,
And I just saw the thing just sort of went, whoop. Yeah. It just died. Uh, it kind of reminded me of something that happened when I was a child. I was a preschooler at the time, and I can barely remember this, but on Saturday mornings, you know, kids usually used to get up early because cartoons would come on.
mhm.
They were usually like older ones, but they would come on at 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So you'd get up early and, you know, go grab a Pop-Tart or or a bowl of cereal or something like that, and, you know, start watching your cartoons. And was doing that one Saturday morning, and all of a sudden the picture tube on the television in the living room just kind of went like this down to a little tiny dot.
Yeah.
I kind of freaked out. Ran into my parents' bedroom. I'm like, television, you know, go boom. But they had a television in their bedroom. It was a little old black and white thing.
I remember the little black and white TVs.
Mhm. It's probably like a 12-inch or 13-inch, really small. And I think it had tail fins on it now that I think about it. So it was really old, you know, even then. But they went out that day and got a brand new television for the living room. So next Saturday, I was able to watch cartoons on a new TV. So it's good childhood.
One of my things I want to do at some point, not really home enough or free for TV enough to do it now, but I want to get one of these like theater systems for the home.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I want to get like a huge flat TV, that has everything from 3D to, whatever on it. And just have theatrical experiences with whatever I happen to be watching.
Well, in our family room, now I set this up years ago, so it's not exactly cutting edge technology anymore. But I've got in-wall speakers, in ceiling speakers for the center channel,
Oh, wow.
and I've got a subwoofer all connected to the receiver, which is also connected to the television and the DVD player. In the family room, and I stringing all the wire, for the speakers at the time was really difficult. It's hard to retrofit something like that into a home. I was able to do it. It was not easy to do it, but I was able to somehow do it and figure it out. It sounds great. Um, we just don't use it that often though. But we're always in the living room instead, where the television's smaller. We have a home theater in there, but it's not as good as the one I built in. But whenever we do want to watch something of something interesting, and for example, we're going to watch Renfield with Nicolas
We
Cage.
just watched that.
Oh, did you on Peacock?
Before the show. Actually, we had to stop watching the extras because we're going to start the show. So we're going to watch them after we continue, after the show.
Did you buy the DVD or?
Bought the Blu-ray DVD.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Greg subscribes to Peacock, so we're just going to watch it on Peacock. But we're going to watch it down in the family room because, it's the biggest TV. It's the best sound, and we have our most comfortable seating down there anyway.
It was much better than we thought it was going to be. We wanted to watch it because we love the commercials,
Mhm.
but it actually turned out that the movie was a lot better than
So-
we thought.
There's something about it that kind of reached out to me. More so than just the subject matter. There's something about, I don't know, just seeing the promos and such for it. I've wanted to see it for a while. I wished it had done better in release, but I was excited to see that it was on one of the streaming platforms,
And
and can't wait to watch it.
He's Lugosi sometimes. Sometimes he's channeling Lugosi. Sometimes he's reminiscent of Nosferatu. In some of the shots, he really and he had something totally original and unique to it as well. His own Nicolas Cage-ness essence. But he really, really, really did a great job with Dracula.
It looks that way too, and I'm really excited to watch it. I don't see that many new films. You see far more of them than I do, and I haven't been in a theater since 2019, so it's been like 4 years. No, that is not true. 2020 was the last time, right before. A week or two before the pandemic started. I saw The Invisible Man in an IMAX theater, and that was the last film that I saw in the theater. But like I said, I built my home theater at home in the family room, and it seems kind of silly not to use it.
I would agree there. And tonight I can't stay on longer than 10. I think we're approaching 10, right? Oh, we passed 10.
We're right at 10. Yeah.
So at some point when I finish doing my curriculum stuff, we're going to be watching all the bells and whistles stuff on the Blu-ray for Renfield. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Demeter when that comes out. That movie, the commercials, even though they're not really full of content that I've seen, that seems like something that I really want to watch as well.
Well, very good.
That's the
So
book.
I guess we need to start wrapping up.
Yes, thank you so very much. Happy birthday to your friend.
Yes, Aaron was a really special person, great guy. And I think about him very often. He taught me a lot about the business as it was during his heyday, and I got to see Hollywood through his eyes a few times, and that was remarkable. It was a great experience.
If you send me information on him, I'll post it and share it, like an image or something, and some information on his birth and when he passed. And I'll include it in the description of today's episode, and we'll dedicate today's episode to him.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I will call this episode Beach Parties, ... and more.
All right, very good.
Okay, take care. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay, chat soon.
Chat soon.